Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy Dez Reacts back with another video, man. Today we got how US military smoked Russian mercenaries. I don't know nothing about it. By the looks of this, looks like they're gonna be in a gunship or something, so it's about to be pretty sick. If you guys like my content, man, please smash that like button, hit the sub button, give me suggestions on other things to react to. I feel like this one's about to be pretty crazy, and I hope you guys are having a good week so far. If you guys like to support the channel, you can. Links in the description, man. Give me a follow on my social medias on the banner, my Instagram, Twitter. If you guys DM me on those, you know, that's the easiest way for me to react to the videos you guys request. You know, my DMs are open. So go ahead and do that. And without further ado, man, let's get it. I'm excited.
When the first vehicle in the convoy suddenly blew up, the Russian mercenaries knew something was wrong. Their objective, to capture an oil field in eastern Syria, was supposed to be a routine mission. The enemy, they knew by then, would have fled long ago at the sight of 500 battle-hardened Russian and Syrian fighters. But instead, the attack had come to an abrupt halt, and explosion after explosion shook the ground. It wasn't long before AC-130 gunships, Predator drones, Apache helicopters, and fighter jets were circling over the battlefield, pounding.
It's at that point, bro, it's over with, man. I'm sorry, bro. It's over with. It's over with, bro. You got the AC-130 gunship, Angel of Death, right? You got the fighter jets, you got the Apache helicopters. You're done. I'm sorry.
The attack.
No country's like touching the US like when it comes to just like firepower like that, just because we spend so much money.
Attackers from every imaginable angle. What the Russian forces didn't know was that the oil field was not defended by any fighters, but by American Special Operations Forces, supported by the most powerful air force in the world.
Oh.
And so, within a few minutes, the routine mission turned into hell on earth and into one of the deadliest engagements for the notorious Russian mercenary group Wagner. To stop the rapid advance of the self-proclaimed Islamic State, the U.S. had deployed troops in Syria since 2014. They supported the so-called Syrian Democratic Forces, or SDF. A year later, Russia also intervened in the fight against ISIS, but on the side of Assad's Syrian government forces. The SDF and the Syrian army were never seen as allies, but in keeping with the saying, "the enemy of my enemy is my friend," both parties at least mostly avoided each other. After years of fighting.
Yeah, just think about it, man. That's such like a, how do I say it? Like, that's just, the tensions are just so high with Russia all the time, right? Ever since like the Cold War, Soviet Union, you know, like, the tensions were so high, like you want to avoid them, right? Like Americans joined the war 2014. Russians see that Americans joined the war, so they want to join the war. But they're going to go to the side with like the Syrian like government that was already there, right? That's allied, like close allies with Iran. And America teamed up with like this seemed like Democratic, you know, party like that wants to, you know, intervene into the government. It's crazy that, you know, they both have the same enemy, right? But they're not friends with each other either. So the other two like little groups are rivals. And it's pretty cool that they avoided each other because, you know, it could get messy, man. It could get ugly. One wrong thing, you know, World War III could break out with Russia, right? Like if America gets involved in any war that's like a full-scale invasion / assault, the whole world's gonna go to war, especially if it's against another conventional force.
Both armies managed to drive out the terrorists, and by 2018, ISIS held only a fraction of its original bases. To prevent an unintended conflict between Russian and US-supported armies, a deconfliction line was formed along the Euphrates River, which effectively bisects Syria. In addition, both parties were able to contact each other through special telephone channels that were kept clear at any time. But despite all these precautions, on February 7th, just a few miles from the Euphrates River, the first deadly clash between Russians and Americans since the Cold War occurred. Late in the evening of February 7th, 2018, 500 Russian and Syrian fighters attacked an SDF military base. The base was located about 5 miles east of the Euphrates River and controlled one of the country's main oil fields. Thus, like most oil fields, the area was officially on the Syrian Democratic side of the ceasefire line, but this did not stop the Syrian-Russian troops in any way. The attackers were supported by various Russian-made battle tanks, as well as mortars, artillery, and rocket launchers, with which they began shelling the SDF base without warning.
Wow. Okay, so that's interesting. So my question is, how poor does the Syrian and Russian, reconnaissance groups, like, how do they not know this is protected by American soldiers, right? Like, they obviously did not know that, else they would not have went ahead and attacked them like that. Even though they got 500 of them, they know that U.S. has air superiority, right? So they just thought they're just going to sneak their way in here. And normally, if there's about to be an attack somewhere, invasion somewhere, they let the locals know around so that they could get out of the, combat zone. So like he said, they just came without warning and just started shelling the place. And I don't know if you guys know, oil fields, highly explosive, right? Like, you don't want to put explosives by oil and gas.
In addition, Russian Air Force aircraft were on standby to provide air support, but initially remained on the ground. However, while everything was initially going according to plan for the attacking
original footage.
forces, the phone suddenly rang in the Russian headquarters near the Euphrates. A representative of the U.S. military was on the line and wanted to know whether Russian fighters were currently trying to take the military base at the Conoco oil fields. Here, not only the Syrian Democratic Forces were under heavy artillery fire, but also their allies, American Green Berets, Army Rangers, Marines, and various support units.
Damn.
After the Russians had explicitly denied the question whether the enemy were their troops, it was clear to the caller. Whoever was currently taking fire at his soldiers, he would feel the full force of the American military in just a few moments.
Can you imagine how chilling that threat would be if you're on the phone? Like, I don't care who, you know what I mean? I don't care who it is over there. Like, in a few minutes, they're going to feel the full force of American military. Drops phone. Like, that'd be crazy, bro. That dude on the phone is probably just like, probably messed himself.
The response to the attack on their military base was prompt and tremendous. Even before the Russian convoy reached its starting position for the attack, the first and last vehicles were taken out in a classic ambush maneuver, trapping the forces in the middle.
Before it even started, the first and last vehicle is basically destroyed. So everyone was trapped. So that's what they do. They blow up the front and blow up the back, and they can't turn around, right? Because the roads are all blocked. So it's just gonna be like a shooting frenzy, right? Like for the drones, for the helicopters, jets, kind of like what happened in the Desert Storm, right? Where that one night they just killed like thousands of soldiers of Iraq's.
The missiles came from an American Reaper drone, which had been targeting the convoy for some time. However, to the Russian Wagner mercenaries on the ground, the drone was invisible, and they had a hard time understanding where the fire suddenly came from. It didn't take long for more shells to hit, spreading chaos on the battlefield. American artillery and HIMARS rocket launchers engaged the convoy, inflicting numerous casualties. While the Russian forces were still trying to realize what was happening, 4 Apache helicopters appeared on the horizon. Although the gunships were several miles away, no one could hide from their precise infrared optics. The laser-guided Hellfire missiles found their target in the Russian battle tanks, while the 30mm cannon forced the enemy infantry to withdraw. Few of them were able to escape the explosive shells, and a Russian survivor later reported that they suffered about 200 casualties within the first few minutes, almost half of the entire attack force.
200 casualties within a couple minutes, bro. Nah, I'm not no mathematician, right? That sounds like terrible numbers if you're on the opposing force, man. Like that. Imagine how scared they all were, dude. They couldn't do nothing about it. They brought knives to gunfight.
The reports that are on TV about, well, you know, about Syria and the 25 people that are wounded there from the Syrian army. And, well, to make it short, we've had our kicked. So one squadron lost 200 people. Right away, another one lost 10 people.
Jeez.
And I don't know about the third squadron, but it got torn up pretty badly too. So 3 squadrons took a beating. The Yankees attacked. First, they blasted the out of us by artillery. And then they took 4 helicopters up and pushed us in a merry-go-round with heavy caliber machine guns. They were all shelling the holy out of it, and our guys didn't have anything besides the assault rifles. Nothing at all, not even mentioning shoulder-fired SAMs or anything like that. So they tore us to pieces for sure, put us through hell. And the Yankees knew for sure that the Russians were coming, that it was us, Russians. Our guys were coming to commandeer an oil refinery, and the Yankees were holding it. We got our beat rough. My men called me. They're there drinking now. Many have gone missing. It's a total It sucks. Another takedown. While AC-130 gunships circled over the battlefield engaging individual targets, large B-52 strategic bombers completely destroyed the convoy. Those who managed to...
So yeah, you mess with one, bro. You kick the hornet's nest, bro. You get the whole bunch, right? You're gonna get stunned, like, you know, because they shelled their base, their military base. They got all that going on, getting bombed and all that.
Escape hid in buildings, but even there, they were not safe for long. Late into the night, the attackers were hunted by F-15 fighter jets, whose bombs penetrated even the best cover. The new 5th...
These guys can just not catch a break, bro. They cannot catch a break. As soon as they think it's over, there's another jet coming.
Generation air superiority fighter F-22 Raptor was also used. But for the soldiers on the ground, it no longer made any difference who was pounding them. The Russian contractors did not stand a chance against the American Air Force. Although there were rumors that some pilots from the nearby Russian air base were asking for permission to take off, the blue-painted Su-34s and 35s remained on the ground. The attackers' casualties were so heavy that in the middle of the battle, one of the Russian commanders called in and asked for a ceasefire, indicating that Russian military was in contact with the attacking fighters after all. A published call from a...
So why do you think that is? Do you think that the jets didn't take off because, you know, Putin or whoever is in charge was like, that's our mercenary force? They're technically not, you know, our military. They're just private contractors. Because I feel like that's why they didn't take off. Because then if they would have got engaged, and then technically America would have been fighting conventional forces, right? Of Russia's. So I wonder if that's why.
A Wagner mercenary sums up events in Syria. Just had a call with a guy. So they basically formed a convoy, but didn't get to their positions by some 300 meters. One unit moved forward. The convoy remained in place about 300 meters from the others. The others raised the American flag, and their artillery started ours really hard. Then their choppers flew in and started shooting everybody. Ours just running around. Just got a call from a pal, so there are about 215 killed. They simply rolled ours out hard. Made their point. What the ours were hoping for in there? That they'll run away themselves? Hope to scare them away? Lots of people so bad they can't be ID'd. There were no foot soldiers on the American side. They simply our convoy with artillery. When the battle ended early next morning, there was nothing left of the convoy of vehicles. All combat vehicles have been destroyed, with the exception of a single battle tank and armored personnel carrier. Of approximately 500 Russian and Syrian attackers, at least 200 were killed or wounded. One of the mercenaries later reported that in some places they found solidified melted sand and gun barrels bent from the heat. There were no casualties on the American side, and no reports of damaged aircraft. Only one of the SDF soldiers in the base at the oil field was wounded by Russian fire, but survived. The incident sparked outrage on both Russian and Syrian sides, but since the Americans had repeatedly reassured themselves through the Russian officials, they could not be blamed. According to intercepted phone calls between the leader of Wagner and Russian ministers, the attack was even said to be an order from Moscow. For Wagner Group fighters, the Battle of Conoco Fields went down in history as Red February and was one of their most humiliating engagements.
Oh.
At least some of them received a medal specially made for this event. It shows a Russian soldier surrounded by flames, heroically shooting at an American Apache helicopter, a scene that probably never took place in this way. The Syrian Democratic Forces and their American allies had successfully defended the base at the oil field and continued to fortify it. The demonstration of their superior air power was meant to be a warning to any hostile forces not to mess with the wrong people.
Right.
Interestingly, when Syrian and Russian fighters gathered in the area again about a month later, the Americans once more contacted the Russian commander in charge. This time, it was not long after the end of the phone call that the entire Russian-Syrian fighting force hastily withdrew. For those who made it this far, thanks for watching.
Wow.
If you want to help us produce more content,
that's
feel
crazy.
free to leave a like and tell us what you think of the attack on the U.S.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, let me know what you guys think about that. Like, so the orders did come from Moscow itself. So that's messed up because they sent the Wagner group, the mercenary group, to go attack it. And I know full and well Moscow knew that the Americans were there. But they sent the mercenaries and not their own forces, man. They set them up. They're just trying to test the waters. And then Putin's like, hey, my bad, guys. Here's a medal that shows you guys shooting an Apache helicopter. Imagine getting your ass whooped that bad to where you get a medal for surviving. Like for surviving a failed assault. Interesting. Yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts, feelings. Please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Catch you guys on the next video. Peace.